I've been reading a book. Alon just picked one up. A bunch of my friends are picking it up. You may have heard me talk about it on Snapchat or Instagram if you follow me there. It's this one. It's called Reality Transurfing. I'm a little bit more than halfway done now, and I'm not going to do like a full-on review at least yet, but I want to give you guys a first look and my first thoughts. That way you can hear about it. See what you think. Why I like this book is because it stands on the shoulders of other books, or it takes other books and lessons I've learned and like teachings that I've internalized and blows them out of the water. And it is backed heavily by quantum physics and backed heavily by like scientifically proven things. And on top of that, it's a book that you can go and implement on your own and see how it applies to you. So this is not a comprehensive review. I'm not done yet. I'm only halfway through. You can see my dollar bill. I am on page 432 as of this recording. But there's just a couple things in here that I wanted to share. One, because it helps me as I articulate it to learn it. Two, Alan ordered the book. Mario just ordered the book, so it's very relevant to a lot of conversations going around here. You can get this book at jeremymontoya.me/transurfing. So I bookmarked 3 quick things. I'm just gonna kind of riff on it and share because I think that they are pretty relevant. So this is, again, you're gonna wanna read this to get more background and more information on it. So first little note that I have here is our thoughts always come back to us like a boomerang. I mentioned there's a previous vlog that says how I became president. It was how I became president of a national organization when I was in high school, and it was a student organization, so I didn't like take over a company or some shit. However, it was Law of Attraction, the book The Secret, and it helped me to create the image in my mind for what I was wanting, and when the time came when I actually had to go and do the work, it went exactly how I pictured it. This book walks you through a step-by-step process for it that is very similar, very aligned with that, but is far less esoteric and a lot more achievable. So we always end up getting the thoughts and situations which our thoughts are mostly strongly attached to. Our thoughts always come back to us like a boomerang. When I'm chatting with people, I often, when I'm talking about these sort of things and energy and intuition, the biggest example that I can touch most people with is when you're thinking of somebody else and they're thinking of you and you get a call from them or a text from them or something like that. It could be coincidence. I don't believe in a lot of things, but one thing I don't believe in is in coincidences personally. And I've had it happen far too many times, and I think everybody has their own experience of you're thinking of somebody, they hit you up a couple days later or right then, or they call you, you were thinking the same thought as your best friend or something like that. So that's like one small example of this. The other though, the bigger thing that I look at here is the question of like, what do you want in life? What's your goal? If what I have learned is that when you focus on what you don't want, you will get that. And most people that I know and that I come across know exactly what they don't want, but they don't have a clear picture of what they do want. And by understanding what it is you do want and what a image from that day in your life of actually having that would look like, it's far easier for that thing to come to fruition. In the past, there was breaking the 4-minute mile, or nobody had broken that before. Finally, somebody did it. This was like back in like the 40s or 50s, and then everybody else became able to do it. Michael Phelps records, those are getting broken by a bunch of other people because it's possible. When you see it happen, I feel like it unlocks something in your mind. So, if your thoughts come back to you like a boomerang, then what kind of boomerang are you wanting to come back to you? And this can stem from what your goals are. Okay, my goal is to do this thing, and here's what it looks like. That boomerang could come back to you. Alternatively, if you're thinking negatively, then that boomerang can come back too. And what Transurfing has also been teaching me inside the book is that when you have those thoughts about other people, that will come back to you as well. Your subconscious doesn't delineate or differentiate your positive and negative thoughts and who they're directed at. It just hears them. And what you're feeling for others, your subconscious is really feeling for you. And so if those are images you're painting in your mind and they're negative of others, you're gonna attract that thing. So the question here is, what do you want boomerang back in your life? Think about that, and you'll wanna focus there instead of the alternate route. This is a bit of a longer quote. The only conclusion that can be drawn from this is that you have to consciously reevaluate your relationship to your work if you want to avoid creating excess potential. I'll see if I can try to explain this in a good way. It's essential to have free time in which you can do things you enjoy. People who do not know how to switch off and relax do not know how to work well either. When you arrive at work, detach yourself. Give of your head and hands, but do not give away your heart. The work pendulum wants all the energy you can give it, but you did not come into the world simply to work for a pendulum. Pendulums are ideas. Ideas that stand to live and exist on their own and feed off of your energy. It's a basic concept. It's explained in here, so you can read further about it. Your efficiency at work will be noticeably increased when you stop creating excess potential and free yourself from destructive pendulums. Have you ever felt in life like you wanted something so bad, but you couldn't have it? The more you tried, the more things you tried, and you became so attached to something that you almost felt like it was running away from you? That's what this is talking about here. I've been using this analogy a lot. Alan and I talked about it on our way to dinner, and I've been having this conversation with a few others because Transurfing uses the analogy and it makes perfect sense. If you didn't know how to swim and you were thrown into a large body of water, what would you do? Most people would probably start flailing their hands, they would start suffering, they would start panicking, and when you panic, what happens? You lose all control and you end up drowning, typically. However, what you should do in that situation is relax, you'll float, and then the water can guide you to safety, or you can even use your hands to kind of get there. But it's the exact opposite of what we think we should do. We are taught in life by our education system and by our workforce that you have to work hard for everything that you get, and you have to take step by step to get it, and things take a long time. Those are pendulums. That's dogma. Those are ideas other people have had instilled in them by others that aren't necessarily true, or that I recommend you disprove for yourself and see in your intuition if they're true for you. I think the quickest way to failure in life is to listen to other people's dogma and take it on. The best thing in life to do is to hear it, throw it up against a wall, and test it for yourself. And if it stands true, then maybe it is, or you go and find alternate ways of thinking. Unfortunately, religion, our education establishments, and other organizations, the workforce, they don't train for us to think that way, because that would make us independent, and that would not feed the pendulums our energy or these ideas and keep these things going. So, detach yourself from your goal. Detach yourself from your work. Be the person who's the most engaged, is what I take away from that quote. Who's the most engaged but the least attached. You can sense when somebody is needy or wants something. You can sense it from a mile away. The salesman, the person who is constantly talking about themselves. You can sense when they want something from you, and they are creating what's called excess potential. And that excess potential will only come back to harm you in the long run. So what you want to do is detach yourself from your work, learn how to relax and have that balance. Be the person who's the most engaged but the least attached. And from what I have found from implementing these things and internalizing it, throwing it up against a wall for myself and trying it, I find myself so much more at ease, people extremely more receptive to me and my ideas and selling themselves on it versus me doing that hard work. It's not manipulative. It is just understanding what it is you're wanting, understanding that there are balanced forces in the universe. For everything positive, there's an equal and opposite reaction and vice versa. You have to know that if you're going to exist in this. If that is true in quantum physics on the micro, then my view is, do you think it's, on the macro, do you think that's true to you on the micro? I personally found that it is. I try to apply that in everything that I do. Let's move on to the next one. Zinging right along here. All right, so I'm gonna talk, I didn't plan on this one. However, if you are in a job right now, chances are you have some goals that you're trying to hit. What Transurfing helps you to understand is that if you're not setting those goals, or if those goals are being set by someone else, then those aren't your goals. And because they aren't your goals, it is not gonna be easy for you to accomplish them. So it's important when you set goals that you make them yours. Even if you're working for somebody else or you're helping in someone else's projects or anything, you have to make the goals yours. Attribute. The goal is what a person really wants in life, such as to have their own house and grow roses, travel the world and visit faraway places, catch trout in Alaska, go skiing in the Alps, raise horses on their own farm, enjoy life on their own oceanic island, become a movie star or an artist. By focusing on the money, it goes on to say, by focusing on the money, they put the goal itself on the back burner. And so an exercise that Transurfing walks you through is having a target slide. And this is what like an image or one frame would look like from what your life would look like and having this goal that you're after. By focusing on the money, you're only creating more work for yourself. Instead of focusing on the money, focus on what the money is going to bring you. Is it a lifestyle? Is it an oceanic island? Is it some sort of vacation? Is it a thing? Is it help? Focus on those things instead and let money be an accompanying tribute, not the actual goal. It's just a means to an end. So when you're thinking about your goal, you want to consider those aspects of the resources and what the resources are going to get you, not the resources themselves. You might want to know the amount of money, but don't worry about the money. Just focus on what it is that you are wanting. Clarity around what you're wanting and what that is going to look like a day in the life is exactly what's going to help you get there versus focusing on the money and instead of putting your goal in the background and getting distracted with those things. So those are just a couple quick things that I am enjoying inside of this. Now this is the first, I think the first like even informal book review that I've ever done. So if you like this, let me know in the comments. I would love to know. Maybe I'll do a more comprehensive review on this once I finish it. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already.